Quick question, if the New York Knicks close out this series, who is your finals MVP? Most people will say Jalen Brunson on reflex. Some will argue the best player alive is on the other team. But I went through both box scores line by line, and the most deserving name might be the one nobody is shouting, Karl-Anthony Towns. Let me show you the math. Here's the setup. New York leads 2-0, both wins coming in San Antonio, and the series is now theirs to lose. Finals MVP gets handed out when it ends, so this is a projection. But projections are just arguments with evidence, and the evidence through 2 games points somewhere very specific. This is Game is Culture. Real quick before we dig in, if you like breakdowns that actually show the math instead of just yelling takes at you, go hit subscribe. It's free and it genuinely helps, so click it. Start with what he's actually done, the two-way anchor. Across the 2 games, Towns is averaging 19.5 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 4 assists. 2 games, 2 double-doubles in the NBA Finals. And he's doing it as the biggest body on the floor, banging with the best young big in the world and still running the glass clean. Now the number that wins the argument. He is shooting 56% from the field for the series, 15 makes on 27 shots. A 7-footer who stretches to the 3-point line, finishing at 56% in the finals, is the most efficient high-volume scorer New York has. Hold that number, we're going to weaponize it, because here's how he stacks up against his own teammates. Jalen Brunson is the engine, no argument. He's averaging 25, and he hit the steal and the free throw that won game 2. But look at how he's getting his. He's shooting 34% for the series, 19 makes on 56 attempts with around 4 turnovers a night. He's volume, Towns is value, same scoreboard impact, wildly different cost. Put them side by side. Brunson wins raw points, but Towns wins field goal percentage by 22 points, wins the glass by a mile, and takes far better care of the ball. 3 of the 4 columns to the big man. And the efficiency gap is not subtle. Look at it on one axis. Brunson at 34%, Towns at 56%. That's the difference between a guard forcing the issue and a big man taking only what the defense gives him. In a finals, that gap is the whole ball game. And shooting isn't even his loudest edge. On the glass, Towns is averaging 12.5 boards a night, more than Wembanyama, and roughly 3 times what Brunson grabs. Rebounding is the least glamorous superpower in basketball, and the most predictive of winning the possession battle. In a series where Game 2 came down to a single point, every extra rebound is a vote in your favor. Watch what happens when you drag the efficiency dial from Brunson's number up to Towns. It starts on Brunson's side, 34%, the volume scorer. Slide it up, and as it crosses the midpoint, the case tips, all the way to 56, and it belongs to Towns. The bucket that costs the least is the one you trust in June. And the quiet superpower is that Towns doesn't need the ball to dominate. He's a release valve when Brunson gets swarmed, a lob threat, a spacer who drags the 7-footer away from the rim, and the best rebounder in the series. That's the exact profile voters reward when the trophy is for the team that wins, not the man who scores most. Quick interruption, because the next comparison is the big one. Hit subscribe if you're enjoying this. I'm not going to beg, but I am going to ask, so hit it and I'll wait. Now the comparison everyone actually wants, Towns against the best player in the series. Let's be honest, Victor Wembanyama has been the best individual player in this series. More points, more blocks, the louder highlights. Towns answers with better efficiency and more rebounds, but scan to the bottom row because that's the one the voters can't unsee. That last row is everything. Wembanyama can drop 30 a night, but his team is down 0-2. Finals MVP is not a stat title. It is awarded to a difference maker on the team that lifts the trophy. And history is brutally clear on what happens to the best player on the losing side. And give him real credit on the other end because Finals MVP is a two-way award. Towns has spent stretches of this series as a primary body on Wembanyama, absorbing the most physically demanding assignment in the sport and still chasing every miss. He isn't a stopper, nobody fully stops that guy, but he's competed, fouled smart, and helped force the 7-footer into the long contested twos New York can live with. In the entire history of the Finals MVP award, exactly one player has ever won it from the losing team. One. Jerry West back in 1969, and the league has never done it again. So no matter how brilliant the 7-footer in silver and black is, if San Antonio loses this series, the trophy is not going to him. It goes to a Knick. So if it's going to a Knick, put it in historical context. The Knicks have produced exactly one Finals MVP in franchise history, Willis Reed, who won it in 1970 and again in 1973. Since then, 53 years of nothing. If Towns finishes this, he becomes the first Knick to win Finals MVP since Willis Reed. In the same season, the franchise chases its first title since that very year. And think about the shape of the player doing it. A center winning Finals MVP is rare and getting rarer in a guards league. The blueprint exists. Nikola Jokic did it in 2023, but a true 7-footer who also shoots threes carrying a champion is a unicorn the award almost never sees. Towns would be exactly that. So pull it all together. Why does he actually deserve it? 3 reasons stacked. 1, he's the most efficient high-volume scorer on the winning team. 2, he's the best rebounder in the series and a real body on defense against the most dangerous big alive. 3, he does it without needing the offense to run through him, which is the cleanest definition of value there is. Score, rebound, defend, and never demand the ball. And don't ignore the story, because voters never do. Towns was traded to New York and told he couldn't anchor a contender. 2 years later, he's 2 wins from a ring, putting up double-doubles in the finals, about to end a 53-year championship drought in the most famous arena in the sport. That narrative practically writes the trophy engraving itself. Now, the honest counter, because it's a real one. Brunson made the 2 biggest plays of Game 2, the steal and the go-ahead free throw, and closers win these awards all the time. If he erupts for 40 in a closeout game, the trophy is his and it's earned. This isn't a knock on Brunson at all, it's just the case that, measured across a full series, the most complete and efficient Knick has quietly been Towns. But strip the story away and the case still stands on one number. 56% shooting in the NBA Finals from a 7-footer averaging a double-double. That is the most efficient, least selfish, most winning version of stardom on the floor. The volume guys get the headlines. The efficient big man gets the trophy. So I'll leave it with you. If New York finishes this, is it Brunson on reputation, the best player alive on the losing side, or the efficient big man who quietly checks every box? I think the math says Towns. Tell me who you'd vote for down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. We're in a race to 1,000 subscribers, so please join the family.